Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 85 of the Not Joanna Eggs podcast. This week, we are reviewing The Legend of the Guardians, The Owls of Gaul, the Zack Synder directed film that came out in 2010. It's about owls. They're wearing little hats. They got knives on their feet. It's fine. We are joined this week by our guest Mia from the Cynical Cartoons podcast. You can find her Twitter via @StopTweetingMia. It was great having her back on, and we had a weird time trying to dissect this movie, much like an owl dissecting a mouse. So go with that. Apologies for the delay on this one. I've been sick for the past couple days, and my voice is finally sounding more like it nasally usually is. So yay! All right. Well, anyway, we hope you guys enjoy this podcast, and thank you again so much for listening. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Not Joanna Eggs podcast. I'm Tracy.
And I'm Robbie.
And we have a special guest today, someone that we've been trying to get back onto the show for a while, and we finally got her back on. Please introduce yourself, guest.
Hey guys, I'm Mia. Yeah, I'm elusive, right? Like, you guys have really been vying for my affection and my attention and my time for months now.
I mean, You didn't have to send back all the letters, all the edible arrangements. Like, I'm starting to feel a little crushed. You know,
at least I signed them for you and signed them with a kiss. You know, I mean,
you signed the
anything
edible
for fans.
I like that you signed a return
you signed
to
them
sender.
in permanent marker, so I couldn't even eat them when you sent them back to me. Enjoy this poison fruit, you stupid idiot.
I mean, most people know this about me. I don't know if most people know this about me from the listen to your show. I've been on the show a bunch of times.
Yes.
I was Tyler. I came out as a transgender woman in the last 6 months and have been, I don't know if gracefully transitioning is the right word. Certainly not graceful, but, you know, I've been working on it.
I've been enjoying seeing your selfies.
Yeah.
I like seeing like the outfits of the day. I'm like, oh man, that top's really cute.
Yeah, it's all Goodwill. That's the thing. I'm still broke.
Damn Skippy, because Goodwill and Salvation Army are so underrated. I got some really cool shit from there too.
But yeah, I don't know. I was re-listening to our All of the Other Reindeer episode earlier today, and I remembered how instigatory I am on your guys' show. Like, it's my job to like come in and be like a little gremlin chaos being. And that's what I'm here for today, because we're talking about The Owls of Gaul, and boy, I got nothing to say about this movie. Fuck.
Well, we can make up for that then. At any point, you can feel free to inject a pithy retort or something about like, that didn't make sense. That seemed racist. And we'll be like, yeah, it did.
There's like a lot of racism in this movie.
Yeah, but it's super obvious.
Oh, that was apparently a thing some people had an issue with. They don't like that angle. And I'm like, but they're villains, right? Like, it's unambiguous that the quote-unquote pure ones are evil.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you don't like the fact that these racist owls are in your children's movie, I guess. I don't know.
I feel like there's so much sympathy in this movie for the brother who is like, I don't know, like a disenfranchised young white kid who goes and joins the alt-right. And the movie's like, you can still talk some sense into him. I'm like, that's not... I don't know how I feel about this movie at all. And yeah, that's right. At the end, he doesn't do it. But it's like, I don't know how much the movie still has so much sympathy for this character who joins the alt-right and becomes a white supremacist. And I'm like, well, guess what? That sucks. I don't like that.
Yeah, that does kind of suck. Basic plot synopsis is that there are these two young owlets that are named Soren and... I just called him Edgy
Kludd.
Teen. And Kludd, yeah.
Kludd. The worst name in the history of cinema.
What else is he supposed to be aside from in the alt-right?
Terrible.
And his name is Kludd.
I think it's like the joke they make about Scar in Lion King. Like, what did you expect out of this guy that you called him Kludd?
And also, Scar's original name was Taka, which is Swahili for garbage, which I'm like, honestly, fuck you, Mom and Dad. If that's
seriously,
what you call your kid. You're just like, we're going to set our child up to be failures so that we have, apparently the parents are such narcissists that they set up one kid to be like the golden child, the literal golden child, and then the other one's named garbage. Like, what kind of message is that?
Maybe they're going for the bad a boy named Sue trope.
Maybe. I don't know. But anyway, the basic story of this is that there are these two young brothers and also their younger sister that are being raised by their parents. They're barn owls. Essentially, they get kidnapped by these owls that were sent by the pure ones, which are these very, like, unambiguously Nazi-coded owls that are all about preserving their, like, perfect race and creating soldiers out of these ideal, like, barn owls, like, I don't, they call them Tytos for some reason. I don't really know
Yeah.
why. But I mean, like, they're obviously going after like what Nazis call Aryans. You know, like they've almost got like the similar kind of look to them and everything. And they treat all the other owls that they collect that they've abducted from their families into like they treat them like subspecies basically, and force them to do this thing called the moon blink, meaning that they end up falling asleep looking at the moon, and it basically hypnotizes them into being slaves to go through these owl pellets, meaning like old, like how owls don't poop, they throw up like the remnants of whatever they had before, and they're asked to like pick out these little metal specks out of the pellets.
Before you go any further, can you guys believe that this is based on a young adult novel? Because I sure can't. Oh boy. I just mean it has all the tropes of every young adult novel ever. Like, it's just so
owl pellets,
such a young adult.
Being taken from your parents, being a chosen one. I mean, like, yeah, a lot of it.
Whack.
Between this and Harry Potter, I can't really tell the difference. There's slightly less magic, but other than that, what's the difference? So, like, essentially, Soren and this other smaller elf owl named Gelfie, they end up getting away from the other owls, and they're trained by this other owl. Like, honestly, some of these names, I was like, oh, are you fucking kidding me? When I saw half of them. So usually I just ended up referring to them by either a vague description of what the owl looked like, or their voice actor if I recognize them. So one,
I don't know any of
Jeffrey
these people's
Rush
names.
Owl,
Right.
One's Hugo Weaving Owl,
right?
Like, you know, all of
Two
it,
of them actually are Hugo Weaving Owl. Both the father, Noctis, and the guy who teaches them to fly, Grimble, I think.
Sure. I mean, like, I could not tell you the difference between them, except for I knew who Digger was because he was the obvious comic relief.
I remember Digger. I remember Jeffrey Rush's character because he looks like someone threw him in a blender. And he beat
because
the blender.
Fucking Jeffrey Rush is the savior of everything ever made. There's also a snake named Mrs. P, who I guess they said that she was the nursemaid. I'm like, but for owls?
Yeah, it's like a weird relationship. I don't know what that's supposed to be doing.
What does a snake do for a baby owl?
Mm-hmm.
I thought the owls would eat the snake. I don't know. It's some of it doesn't make sense. There's a lot of suspension of disbelief in this. Some of it gets to the point that it's just kind of like comical to me. But let's see, Robbie, do you remember the rest of it from there, or should I keep going?
So, I mean, I remember, like, the broad strokes of the plot. I just don't remember what moves them out of the forest.
Yeah.
So basically, he's trying to get the Guardians of Gaul to go and fight the Pure Ones and rescue his brother and eventually his sister.
Mm-hmm.
And he does manage to convince them, but one of the lead owls, I want to say Alamir, betrays the Guardians because he's going to then be the king of the Owl City. I know.
Well, Gaul, I think was the name.
Called Gaul? I don't remember.
That's everything, or that's like where the legends live? Where is that everything? I don't know.
I think that it's supposed to be that specific island that looks a hell of a lot like the island that the Lost Boys lived on from Hook. If y'all remember that, like with a weird fucking tree and all that.
Well, so Alamir betrays the Guardians and leads them into a trap when they, like, launch a full-scale assault because these metal flecks that they've been collecting somehow have some kind... I think what it's meant to be is, like, some weird magnetic energy that fucks with the owl's flight gizzard.
Yeah, that was a weird thing. Like, they use, like, it's like, it has to come out of your guts. Like, no, it comes out of your gizzard. They're trying to mean a gut feeling. They're like, you have to feel it in your gizzard. And that kind of grossed me out because I always associate gizzards with the stuff that's used to make gravy in Thanksgiving.
Right.
Soren and his crew show up sort of late to the fight, manage to destroy the weird apparati that are fucking with the flight bladders.
Yeah, these fucking owls have learned how to make simple machines.
I'm pretty sure they made complex machines.
Yeah, one of them, did he make the lute or did he just find the lute? Because he certainly knows how to play the lute.
He could have carved it if these guys can make, like, these elaborate masks that make, like, helmets or whatever for them that have very detailed, like, intricate latticing and, like, different work and everything in them. Like, one looks like an oak leaf or something. I'm like, that could not have taken, like, a very short amount of time. That would have been a lot of work for an owl. Like, did they just hammer it with their face? Like, what do they do?
Yep, they just use their face as
it's
a
just
hammer.
Like, bruh.
Ow, this hurts so much.
Why don't we just use... Maybe we should make something simpler than this. No, it has to look nice. This one's going to
Nope.
be a gift.
Aesthetics are important,
Aesthetics are
Tracy.
important to owls.
Yeah.
All owls are really good at metalworking.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's their secret talent.
Yeah, think about it.
And so they fight Metalbeak, who is the head of the Pure Ones. It ends up being that Soren kills Metalbeak. He also realistically kills his brother in a fight.
Yeah.
It's not super clear. They chase off the Queen of the Pure Ones, played by Helen Mirren.
Naturally. I think her name is Naira.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
And that's, like, pretty much the end of it. Like, I think there's, like, a sort of epilogue in which we suggest that, like, Soren and the rest become part of the Guardians at a later point.
And then also they're like, well, but wait, did Kludd die? Like, what happened to Naira? But he, like, obviously he's telling that to, like, this group of very young chicks and everything, and they're just like, but wait, what happened after that? He's like, well, that's for another tale. For the sequel, that did not happen.
Not yet. I mean, you don't think that Zack Snyder is interested in coming back and making another Owls of Ga'Hoole? Come on.
I mean, honestly, here's the thing. All right, so I looked up the figures for this, like how much it cost and then how much it made back. It did not do poorly. It actually did fairly well. I think it grossed about $150 million, but it was not the kind of runaway hit that would make them want to do a sequel.
Sure.
It could have just been that it wasn't a big enough sell outside, like in other markets and stuff, to make it viable for them to do another one.
It looks like on Box Office Mojo, the production budget was $80 million and it only made 55 domestic, which at the time was like all that really mattered. So like worldwide to make $140 million on an $80 million budget isn't great. I mean, obviously it's not going to get a sequel now. It's been 8 years.
Yeah, 9 years.
Yeah.
9 years, yeah.
Yeah, I think that honestly, if they were going, it would be one thing if it had grossed like twice that, like 300 million or something. Then easily they definitely would have made another one. But I think that like within the subject matter itself, this is definitely geared towards much older kids because like some of the plot stuff is so intricate that they're not going to know what's going on.
I mean, also it's boring. Like that's the thing. I don't know how you guys felt about it. I was so goddamn bored the entire time. I was like, who is this? It felt like Star Wars politics talk, but just like done by owls for an hour and 36 minutes.
But hey, eventually they give them little Freddy Krueger booty thingies so they can stab each other easier.
Yes, there's
cool.
owl fights. Great.
I did look up a lot of owl fights after the fact.
Oh, you have? Okay, never mind.
Honestly, it's kind of cool, like because like they actually do it in midair, but like
that's awesome.
The thing that got to me the most is just the fact that I don't know how
you just won't let go of the blacksmithing thing, will you?
I can't get past the blacksmithing thing, Robbie, because if they number one, it's like how would they have been able to make the little blades and stuff? Like there's like, look, okay, I can take the Ewok village that they have where they've got like machines and they're pulling up crops and everything and like bringing up all this food and all that stuff. Like it's basically Valhalla, like it's beautiful. But the blacksmithing thing I don't get.
Did you just compare the Ewok village to Valhalla?
Well, in this movie, yes.
That is still a wild comparison.
Is it? Did you see the Ewok village in this movie?
Valhalla is the land of the gods.
Yes, so is
It's
Ga'Hoole.
a paradise.
Yeah, so is Ga'Hoole. They've got all the bugs you can eat. What more incentive do you need, Robbie?
But you were talking about the Ewok village.
I know, and I said that like the Ewok village of this movie. Was that not clear?
Are you guys having a fight? Is this a long-term thing that I don't know about? Do you guys like argue about the Ewoks films
Mommy
a lot?
and Daddy are talking right now.
Okay.
I did say it was the Ewok village of this movie, but it's fine, whatever. Okay, number one, this movie has as many characters as like the fucking Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones, and most of them die, so it doesn't really matter. It kind of does. And
it
they all
does not
have
as many as Game of Thrones. It
okay,
has
in
as
the
many
first
as
season of Game of Thrones.
Maybe a book of Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Maybe.
Fair. The fact that they got Owl City to do like the main song for this was obviously such a get. Like I mentioned this before in a chat that we had before recording. That was like, there's no way that this movie could have existed except for this specific time period to have Owl City do the music for it. Because like his name is fucking Owl City, and they're like, we have to ingest something in here like once they get to Ga'Hoole and when they're learning how to be guardians and everything, something whimsical and fun that's all about flying, and his name is Soren, so can we incorporate that into the song about like flight or something?
I mean, you would think that it would be more incredible if they somehow did not realize the pun until after the film came out. Like, what if they got him just because, like, some producer's nephew was really, really into Tim, whatever the fuck his name is, from Owl City? And then, like, as the movie's coming out, they're like, oh.
His name's Adam Young.
Okay. I don't know his name.
No, like, you're just like, Tim, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah, I don't know his name. Dave. He's a white man. I'm assuming that, I mean, just from everything that I know about him.
He's a white man from Seattle.
Yes.
His name is Dave. Get past
Yes.
it. Since they are based on the Guardians of Gaul books that came out back in the day, I think that these came out in like the mid 90s or something. But
I don't remember.
2003 was the first one.
Really? Oh, damn. They're a lot more recent than I thought. But yeah, fair enough. One of the Guardians is named Bubo, which is a reference to Clash of the Titans, the mechanical owl that they use in there. Like, it's this weird fucking thing.
Which Clash of the Titans was that? Like the original or like the 2000?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the original one that came out in I want to say the late 70s, early 80s. I'm pretty sure it was the early 80s though. There was this mechanical owl named Bubo. I'll send y'all a picture in a sec, but
Right, I'm looking it up now.
that was the thing that got me. Like, actually, here, hold on. Oh, and also, apparently, it is a noun meaning a swollen, inflamed lymph node in the armpit or groin. That's cool. I want to specify the owl just to make sure that it doesn't send me pictures of people's groins.
Which one is Bubo in the Guardians of Ga'Hoole? The Owls of Ga'Hoole?
He was just one of the random council owls or whatever that they were talking to about shit. Like, so the image I just sent to y'all in Discord is Bubo.
I love him.
Yeah, I know. I know you do. I just thought it was a very awkward way to wedge that name in. Unless maybe it was already in the books. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, we don't know, right? We haven't read the books.
I genuinely, but also the eagle owl, I guess its Latin name is Bubo. So, also I just found a really cute picture of a cross-eyed owl. And I'm going to send this to y'all now, too.
Yeah,
but
that
yeah.
as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you'll get yours.
I mean, this should just be common knowledge by this point. I feel like I should have mentioned this before the show. But I fucking hate owls now. Like, I never before have ever had an opinion about an owl in my entire goddamn life. I hate owls.
What are you talking about?
And guess what?
Look at
What
this
do you have
motherfucker.
against owls? They eat all the mice and the rats that live in our backyard.
I
My
just
backyard specifically.
I just don't care for them. They're boring. A lot of them are white supremacists. They just make me extremely
No,
uncomfortable.
the ones in
world.
this
Whoa,
movie are
hey
white
now.
supremacists.
There are some in this movie.
Listen, are you telling me that no
white
owls in the real world are white
Listen.
supremacists? Because I find that hard to believe. Based on the subject
Mia,
that I
we
saw in
can't
this
guarantee
documentary.
that they're white supremacists.
Yeah,
like,
this documentary.
well, and here's the thing, Mia. If they could, maybe they would try lifting up tiki torches. But in this case, it does not happen. They just have little shoes with blades on them to kill each other with. And I would think that would at least be moderately interesting to you.
Well,
but
no.
I guess I was
no,
wrong.
not at all. I mean, here's the
Yeah,
thing, though.
I was dead
is
wrong.
that this movie made me kind of uncomfortable, both from the owl perspective, and owls are disgusting in this movie. They're spitting up pellets. They're digging through each other's
That's what
pellets.
they
They're
do.
fucking nasty. Yeah, I know that's what they do.
That
That's
they
what I'm
do
saying.
that
They disturb
independent of
me.
you.
That's what I'm saying. They don't know about me, but this movie seems catered for me to hate it because also the snake. Now I have a very.
Why do you hate the snake?
I have a very, very severe fear of snakes. And I did not think
fair
that would
enough.
extend. I did not think that would
She's
extend to
voiced
this
by
cartoon
Mrs.
snake.
Sprout from Harry Potter. How could you hate her?
Is so cartoonish, and the entire film I was like, okay, this is fine. And then there were moments where she just like acted like a real snake, like when Soren reconnected with her and with his younger sister. I was like terrified for a second. Because the thing is, like, a fear of snakes is like just like a lasting thing. Like for me, like I see a snake, like a video of a snake on the internet doing something snaky, and then for like 2 hours, I'm like afraid there's gonna be a snake on the floor. So that happened from this movie. It ruined my night. Thanks, guys. Terrible movie. 2 out of 1,000.
2 out of 1,000.
That's my
Well,
rating.
that's just not fair. Okay, well, you know what? I will get on the negativity horse with you right now, but not because of the snakes, because of how they depict bats in this. Because if y'all don't know me, I'm obsessed with bats. I really like them, and
This
they're
is
super
true.
helpful. And the bats get such a bum rap in this, and it makes me really, really sad because they're all scary. They are, for some reason, serving the owls with which to, like, when the metal specks are collected, the owls have to hand them off to bats, and they put them in these gigantic vats or something.
The bats don't have the gizzards, so they're not messed with by it.
But they still feel whatever energy that's coming off of it, too, because they're clearly reacting to it. But it just made me sad because because bats are good. and they shouldn't be treated like they're evil because it keeps adding to all this bat, like all the lies.
The
about
anti-bat
all
propaganda.
the Bat Defamation League.
They're basically the hyenas from Lion King, but less fun.
They're like the hyenas from Lion King, but they don't have personalities. They're just there to be henchmen. But we don't even know what the bats get out of helping them. Like, they don't seem to get food or anything else.
They're just really big fans of Helen Mirren.
I mean, who isn't?
I mean,
she's beautiful.
Exactly.
The bats are definitely just like bootlickers. Like, they're definitely on the side of the white supremacist owls just because they want to get ahead in the world.
Maybe they have networking opportunities from the owls. I don't know.
I just think it would be incredible. I don't know why I'm just thinking of this just now. Like, we don't really see any humans in this movie, but what if a human did, like, stumble onto, like, this owl temple of, like...
So are we looking at, like, Gargamel discovering the Smurfs? Like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
God.
It's just, like, all of these owls, they seem to have, like, a caste system and also a giant, like, glowing metal orb.
Honestly, the thing that would do it for me the most is just seeing them wearing little hats and trying to kill each other.
Right. I mean, that's the thing is the owls would dispatch with any human so quickly. Like, they're vicious. They're fucking murderers.
It's like, just imagine you're like an Australian like backpacker or hiker going throughout the wilderness by yourself. You know, like you're having a great time. Then you see this gigantic fight happening between like about 150 owls. What the bloody hell is that? Like, you know, like that's probably a bit too cockney, but you get the idea. But
right. No, this is a really great horror movie, I think. It's like a found footage, you know, like two hikers like going through the woods.
I do like the idea of that movie in which a man finds himself in the wilderness being stalked by owls.
By murderous owls wearing hats and little knives on their feet. Like, okay, so what I wanted to see would be like an owl facing off with like the crab knife fights that they do. Like how they've got crabs holding knives. Mm-hmm. That'd be fucking amazing. It'd be like a duel. I would love that.
So you would have, this was the thing that came out recently, they were working on a Mouse Guard movie in which you definitely would have seen tiny mice with sewing needles and swords fighting against things like crabs. That's totally a thing that happens in Mouse Guard.
They had a movie come out called The Tale of Despero back in the day, but it's not really played up for... It's not like Redwall, you know, like Redwall.
Oh, yeah, that's a
book
whole
series.
different... I think that's just a different thing.
No, yeah, because I was kind of incredulous that Redwall had never been turned into a series, because I remember that one being huge back in the day. It was. Yeah, but I don't know. That could end up coming up soon.
They were working on it, but I think it's just too hard to sell people on, like, Lord of the Rings, but with mice, and every character CGI, so it sounds expensive. It's kind of for adults, but it's mostly for kids. Like, it's a hard sell, Redwall is.
If they animated it, I think it would probably sell better, too, but...
It would have to be a hard R. Like, it would have to be an X-rated film, I think. Just blood and guts everywhere.
Film.
Mutilated animals.
Well, that's kind of what they did with Watership Down, I think, because of the amount of violence that was in that, too. And that came out back in the 70s, I think.
I mean, it looks like there was a Redwall TV movie in the year 2000, so you might be in luck, Tracy. This might be what you're looking for.
There was 110% a poorly animated Redwall series, because I remember watching it when I was a teenager.
Crap. Well, now I guess I have to watch it, but I don't.
You gotta hunt it down, Trace.
Can I just see more Zack Snyder slowdown that happened in this movie? Like, way too much.
Yeah.
Like, I know that he loves doing it, and granted, you get to appreciate the textures and, like, the huge amount of work that went into, like, actually putting in all of the textures for the bird's feathers and everything, but there's just so much of it in this movie.
Yeah, I mean,
I have seen that.
And this is definitely like a Zack Snyder movie. Like, it's so weird to see a Zack Snyder movie that's rated PG, made for kids. It's like, all right, I guess he was kind of like finding his voice, and then he realized that didn't really work, so he went back to making like jerk-off R-rated comic book movies. But,
man,
I mean, not until after he made Sucker Punch, though.
Yeah,
but it's just so funny. I mean,
wait,
at least
hold on. Let pump the brakes. You're gonna die on the cross for Sucker Punch.
No. The opposite. I will say that Sucker Punch is Zack Snyder's worst movie among a bunch of really, really, really terrible films.
Yeah, but
it's not
good. A bunch of other movies that are not that great.
That's definitely fair.
Thank God this is his shortest movie. 96 minutes still felt like 2.5 hours because it's a Zack Snyder movie, of course. But if it was 2.5 hours, it would have felt like 6.5. Like, this movie just dragged for me so much.
I think that's just an impossible sell.
How about instead of Mia, you and I shitting over this movie, let's have Robbie tell us why they liked it?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Are we allowed to
Yes,
shit
I
on
feel
Robbie,
like-
though, and talk about why Robbie's wrong?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, we love Robbie.
No, I love Robbie,
mostly.
too.
No, we love Robbie.
Here's
We
the
love
thing,
Robbie
I just-
unconditionally.
I just plain and simple do not give a shit about how they do the metalworking. I just think it looks cool.
It does look cool, but
It
it's
does not-
so weird to think about birds doing that to me.
Here's the thing, I didn't think about it at all. I was like, that's
It was
cool.
all I thought about Robbie. I was like,
That's 110% a you thing, though.
Yeah, no, that is true. But this is the kind of shit that I fixate on, though. It's just like most of my notes, like a lot of it was like, number one, Kludd is an edgy atheist teen, which is obvious.
I fucking hate Kludd. He's so shitty.
I mean, like, and here's the thing. I tried to, like, give him the benefit of the doubt for a while because he
Nope.
clearly just hates himself. And, like, or he's just like, well, no one else believed in me. It's like, probably because you're a fucking toolbox, Kludd.
Yeah, have you considered that the problem is you, Kludd?
Yeah, no, that's not a thing. But yeah, like one of my biggest or like the first all caps things was I wrote, who made these masks? And then once I actually found their foundry and them making them, I'm like, oh fuck you. That's not how this works.
I mean, clearly it is in this world.
But how do they make hammers? How do they make all these other things?
How
do they forge it? How do they polish it,
How did we
Robbie?
make hammers?
Do you think that they just found them, maybe? Like, maybe this is like a Planet of the Apes situation.
Oh
Yeah,
god,
maybe they found
like they just
tools.
found some dead bodies and repurposed all of them.
Yep, I think this movie is thousands of
Yeah,
years
this
in the future.
civilization
Owls
is
are
actually
supposed
built
to be
on
very intelligent,
the bones of... They're very smart.
Yes.
It's actually just built on the bones of people.
Sometimes if owls, like, I actually, Robbie, I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, but when I was a kid, I was in the UK for like, I don't know, like 2 days or something. And I got to see these owls that were being rehabilitated. So if they had damaged talons, they'd put these little shoes on them so they look like little Nikes whenever they're walking around.
I fucking love that.
It was freaking cute. I loved it. I was so happy.
I love that so much.
I get to pet its face too. It was nice, but not on the beak. Never the beak.
Never.
Because then
on
they
the
try
beak.
to bite you.
Yep.
Yeah, birds are weird. Birds are really weird, and I like that they explore that with Digger's animation because he's very mechanical, like how he looks around and stuff. Like he's always making weird like movements and turning his head and everything.
I think Digger is 110% like just let someone go wild with animating him.
Yeah, exactly. They're just like, like make him look as like weird and off-putting as possible, but still kind of cute. And then, something that we can sell. But even though I don't even really remember them making toys or anything for this.
Yeah, I don't know if
Not
there was
really.
a lot of merch for this this piece.
Maybe a couple of shirts at a Hot Topic or something, but I don't know.
I would love a Hot Topic shirt of Guardians of Gaul. That's
Honestly,
just really cool in
I
my
would be
head.
a little surprised if that didn't exist on eBay, but
Well, I think the problem they would have ran into is that the Guardians of Ga'Hoole just look like owls. So it's like a 9-year-old kid does not want an owl toy. I mean, maybe they do. Maybe they love
fuck
owls.
you,
But
I loved owls.
but the owls are interchangeable, so they're not necessarily branded content Guardians of Ga'Hoole toys. I mean, maybe like a McDonald's meal. I don't know.
actually they probably did do some kind of McDonald's toy in from what I remember.
Thai Beanie Babies. It looks like
Something like that. Where there's like
What?
a launcher, they're just like, I don't know. That would not shock me.
There is absolutely a video game that has to be terrible.
I was thinking about that yesterday. I just saw there was a video game, and I was like, okay, here's the thing. Video games that have flying levels, that's usually the worst level in the entire game.
Or water.
This game is all that. This
Yeah,
is Superman
or water.
64.
The water levels are awful.
Right. This is Superman 64, but with owls instead of Superman. Terrible. I mean, it must be. I don't know. I've never played it. I'm just talking on my ass here.
It's fine. I mean, like, I would not be shocked.
I'm looking up right now before we move on. I'm looking up the Owls of Ga'Hoole video game for the Xbox 360, the Wii, and the PS3. So far, it's been 7 minutes of clip art animation.
Oh.
With like okay, now it's in the game, and it's bad. Well, I don't know. I'm not playing it. I'm just watching it on YouTube. This doesn't look great, you guys. This looks about on the par with like the Aragon licensed video game.
Did you leap over the 1 foot barrier? You did. Good job.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh my God.
This don't look good.
Yeah, this looks atrocious.
Maybe if I can find a fight, it'll be good. Let's find a fight.
I found a fight and it looks terrible.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
So that game is a bust. Don't buy the Guardians
I mean,
of Ga'Hoole.
it's shovelware.
So maybe they just
anything-
shouldn't have done that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Seems like it.
Let's see. Do we have any other plot points or anything else we wanted to bring up, or?
I don't know, you guys. This movie's not very good. I mean, it's just so stock characters. Everything happens exactly how you expect it to, except it takes so much longer than you expect it to. Like, the first 30 minutes kind of fly by, and I'm like, oh, we already found the legends? This is amazing. And then it just stops at a dead halt, and then nothing happens for an hour, and then the movie ends. And you're like, oh, that was a movie, I guess. I would not watch this with a kid. I would not recommend a kid watch this movie, or a teen, an adolescent. I just don't know who this would be for in 2019.
I could see like a 10-year-old enjoying it.
Maybe a kid that's really into ornithology. Is that the study of owls?
Yeah, well, no, ornithology is just a study of birds. But say if they studied
close.
raptors, like birds of prey, that would make sense, you know? I mean, like, or if there were owl furries, this would appeal to them too. But the problem is that they're all hyper realistic, so I don't know how much it would really do for you.
I don't think it would though, because that's what I was thinking. Is it's just like a furry like doesn't watch videos of real owls. Do they?
No.
It has to be.
Not unless they're trying to get reference to do like, well, say if they're doing, like some hyper realistic art or something, then yeah, they probably would.
Okay, here's the thing, Tracy. Here's the thing. This is really important. I need you both to listen to me. Oh, I'm sorry. Here's the thing. Ornithology is the study of birds and owls. So I was right, and you told me I was wrong, and I expect an apology.
We didn't say you were... okay.
What I find somewhat troubling there is study of birds and owls, as though owls are not also birds.
No, that's the thing, is the owls are birds, and...
I really feel like you're just splitting hairs right now, Mia.
Listen...
No, I don't need to.
Go ahead, sorry.
You've interjected enough. You're done. I would say that, like, at the very least, like, this movie looks amazing. Like, the actual quality of the animation is fantastic.
I think visually it's outstanding.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. Like, whatever animation studio did, I'm sorry, I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head, but, like, it looks phenomenal, but if the pacing is a bit of an issue for you, I could definitely see it. Sometimes it's a little too melodramatic for me, like to the point that I kind of started laughing in some scenes. I was like, what the fuck? But like, I get it. It's obviously not geared towards someone like me who is a hater. But if you happen to like things like Robbie, then you'll probably enjoy this.
Yeah, I mean, all you need to do is turn off the suspension. You just need to not think too hard about the blacksmithing.
Yeah, it's true. Because that was the one thing that I got, like, stuck on for God knows how long, and it completely took me out of the movie because I was trying to get the logistics of how they would do it in my head. And I'm just like, I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm doing it because the movie didn't. It's fine. Whatever. I'm fine with doing your homework, movie.
There was also a DS version of the game, which...
Oh, boy.
Maybe it's good.
I mean, you could probably find a ROM of it if you really, really wanted to.
All right, don't let me sidetrack us too much.
No, I'm just imagining Mia looking up all the different ROMs for all the Guardians of Gaul games and trying to compare them to see like, no, this one sucks. 2 hours later, yeah, this one sucks too.
You can just assume that they all suck, but I could rank them based on playability. The DS game looks surprisingly better than the other ones. This looks like sort of like fun.
I can see like if you're like, what do you call that? Like the gyroscopic thing where you like move the system itself to like aim yourself when flying.
It's just that sort of paring it down to like its base essentials and having this be a game that you could have played in the car 10 years ago is a lot more enticing than playing it on the TV where you have infinite possibilities. Like you could be playing the Aragon game right now.
Why would you want to do that?
Listen. I'll just air it out right now. When I was a kid, I wanted the Aragon game.
And then you got it, and then you didn't know what to do with yourself because you were so depressed.
No, I got it, and one of my siblings lost it, and then I never got to play it again. I played it for like 3 days, and it was great. I got to ride around on Saphira. It was awesome. That's all I'm saying. That's the only thing that I need to say in this entire podcast, honestly.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you've had your piece with a game that's completely unrelated to what we're talking about.
The Jumper game. Now, that was one I never got to play. Jumper, the Hayden Christensen film. I tried to buy it at the video game store, and the salesman talked me out of it.
Okay, Robbie, where can they find you? Because I get Mia's having a bit of a manifesto right now, so we should probably just do our thing.
I agree. Mia, where do they find you on the internet?
Oh, yeah. I'm on Twitter at StopTweetingMia, and you guys can check out my podcast, Cynical Cartoons, where we talk about weird Saturday morning cartoons. You guys are going to be on, well, maybe not this week, depending on when your episode comes out.
We'll find out.
Soon.
Who knows? It's a mystery. All right, Robbie, where can they find you?
As always, you can find me at lobster_writer on Twitter and lobsterwriter on Instagram. Tracy, where do they find you?
Thank you, Robbie. They can find me via Twitter and Instagram via @TCTroush. You can also find our show website on notjoannaeggs.tumblr.com. We also have a YouTube page, so our episodes should be auto-uploading to that too. So otherwise, if you're not subscribed to us on there, and if it's easier for you to listen to podcasts on YouTube, please feel free to check it out. Just search for Not Joanna Eggs.
If that's the case, can I please just talk to you? Because I really need to understand how that works.
Oh, and it's just a thing that's on Libsyn. Like, I literally ticked a box.
No, not the uploading to YouTube. How that listening to episodes of podcasts on YouTube is an easier thing.
I don't know, because Lee told me that it was easier for him, and I'm like, I'm not here to accommodate you specifically, Lee.
That's because he is a madman, Tracy.
Yeah, okay, fair. But still.
Yeah, you got nothing against that one.
No, I don't. I really don't. But, for what it's worth, people seem to enjoy the extremely goofy movie review, so that's something. I don't know, whatever, around with it.
Not even the one that we watched with him.
I know. Well, it actually hit... But no, I know. He has been listening to some of the more recent ones I put up, so don't worry. I'm cutting this part out entirely, obviously.
Are you?
Yes, I am.
Here's the thing. You've said that before, and I've definitely heard it later in the episode.
I only left it in when it was funny. This part's not funny.
I don't know. It's kind of funny.
It's kind of funny, but it's not funny enough to keep it.
Cut it.
Cut it out.
All right.
Cut it. Print it. So thank you again so much for joining us, Mia. It's so nice to have you yell at us once again.
Yeah, you got it.
There is a certain
Thanks,
comfort
guys.
to it.
Thank you for listening. We will talk at you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks again so much for listening. Our intro music is Don't Hold My Breath by Ben Briggs. The outro is Wet Dreams by Phonetic Hero. Both were found on ocremix.org. If you like the show, please subscribe, rate, and review us, or tell a friend to check us out. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. Find the show website via notjoannaeggs.tumblr.com. Follow us on Twitter via @lobster_writer and @TCTroush. Not Joanna Eggs, because animation is for everybody.
2010!